talk about T-Pain disrespecting Tupac Shakur.
Been avoiding it. Go ahead.
No, man. We got to get into this because I think these situations need to be checked. It seems like we always have to talk about somebody saying, yo, this person is more talented than Michael Jackson. Or in this case, T-Pain says that Tupac in this era would get lyrically ate up. It was a lot going on in this interview, or I guess it was a twitch between DJ Academic, T-Pain, and somebody else was on there. But they got to talking about Hit 'Em Up, and they were talking about what that will look like in the social media era. And T-Pain took it to a level where he was saying that it would have been more violence. And Pac would have got, quote unquote, hit up earlier. He said lyrically he would have gotten destroyed. And he made the comment that Pac was only a top lyricist in his era because there weren't that many lyricists in his era. Did you hear him say that?
I did not hear that.
It's a lot of, as they would say, misinformation out there. First of all, I want to point out.
Ever heard.
First of all, I want to point out
the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
I want to point out the fact that T-Pain's 37 years old. He'll be 38 years old this year. So when Tupac passed, he was like 11, right? So he probably doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about in the first place, right?
Okay. Listen to what you're saying. When Tupac died, he was 11.
Yeah.
When Tupac came out, this
like
guy
5.
wasn't even in school yet.
Right.
He was in pre-K or kindergarten when Tupac came out.
But this is what we're going to stop doing, and we'll explore this a little bit more. But speaking on the dead and our legends in ill fashion, that shit's got to stop, man. Like, I don't know when this became a thing where people are going to sit here and bring people out the grave and talk crazy, because if Pac was alive, you wouldn't be saying the stuff you're saying. Because, you know, at the end of the day, somebody like Ice Cube and Chuck D, they're alive and well. You would not go out there and disrespect them like this. And that's just the truth.
No, I don't like it. There's something that's turning into clout chasing about the dead in this community, specifically in reference to our all-time great legends. It's almost like we have to start auditing people speaking about Michael Jackson.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Tupac, in a certain type of way. And I want to say this very carefully. They don't do that shit with Bob Marley because Bob Marley's not from the United States. You see how carefully woven this narrative is getting played? And because here's the reality of the matter. If Tupac was alive and T-Pain were to say this, everybody would be thinking, oh shit, T-Pain is in trouble because Pac is going to slap the shit out of this. He would not say this. When he sees him. He would not have the nerve or the gall to say this. And it's not really founded well, which is part of what I think we need to unpack too. It's not well founded, is it?
It was a bunch of bullshit, to be honest. You know what I mean? And you know what? I think that, and you and I were talking about this offline, this whole narrative that has gotten out of control, where people talk about Tupac's not a lyricist, I think that it's about as it is about as bogus as people saying that Nas is the worst beat picker in hip hop. Like, let's really sit here and examine this. So you're telling me, first of all, you're talking about he would get outbarred or whatever you want to say. Have y'all heard Chino XL rap? Chino XL got bars on bars on bars. Pac said what he had to say about him. Now you're telling me that there's an artist in this generation that is more lyrical on a mainstream level that Pac would be scared to go at, or would outbar Pac, that would outbar Chino XL and guys like that. Pac didn't care who it was. He went at everyone from Nas, the Chino, to Prodigy. These ain't no lightweight guys. Jigga Man, Biggie, it's not lightweight. So you're going to have to show me 5 people in this era or in the past, like, 20 years that matches up with those 5 guys.
Pac is like an old school kind of like block guy too. It's like Pac never disrespected anybody that came before him, but if you were after him, you was fair game.
Yeah.
So there's no Chuck D. Ice Cube, Rakim, KRS. There's none of that disrespect going on. But if you came after and you said something or he felt something, who is this motherfucker? Who this little nigga? What?
Jay Short says, Sam Cooke died before I was born. I still recognize Game. Exactly. I mean, nobody coming up, and I think that this is only done in hip-hop. Because nobody coming up and be like, yo, man, I don't listen to that Marvin Gaye shit, man. He ain't got nothing on R. Kelly. Like, what are we talking about? You'll never see somebody dissing Elvis. And that's real. You'll never see anybody of the culture, of Elvis's culture, dissing him in reference to bigging up somebody in the current generation. And not gonna be like, yo, man, I listen to Maroon 5, man. I ain't fucking with that Elvis shit.
Like, how about this? Like, I think Prince is the greatest artist who ever lived. Mm-hmm. When I say Prince is the greatest artist who ever lived, I didn't say Stevie Wonder sucked. I didn't say Michael Jackson ain't shit. I don't say I don't play Bob Marley like that. I ain't say Marvin Gaye ain't have no soul. I just said Prince is the greatest artist ever.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not what you do, it's how you do it. It's like, no. I think he's the greatest artist ever. I didn't say it wasn't a conversation. I didn't say there weren't viable characters that you could make a discussion for. I said, for me, that's my guy. Sometimes it's how you do it. People be out here just doing it wrong, it seems like. And it's like, I'm starting to wonder, it's like, well, when did all of this happen when it became okay for a DJ like Funk Flex, who got broken in by Lyricist, to disrespect Lyricist? A guy like T-Pain, who literally is like 4 or 5 years old and probably learning not to piss on himself when Brenda Is a Baby is coming out. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, Brenda's got a baby.
And then it goes, and then I want to start addressing the fact that it's like, we spend a lot of time in here talking about, you know, this, from the journalistic integrity side, the narrative on Nas. Well, it appears the same narrative has kind of been guided in Tupac's way about the whole lyricist thing. Because I'm going to tell you what, Mike, I can remember all of those Source and Vibe articles about Tupac too. There was no talk about him being a subpar lyricist.
Never.
When Me Against the World came out. Like you want to know what he was called on his first 2 albums? Inconsistent but brilliant. Which is what the first 2 albums are. Like, the first album's not that good. You can see flashes. The second album, strictly for my niggas, oh, he flashes hard. Like, as in, he can rap next to Ice Cube and Ice-T. He can do Keep Your Head Up and I Get Around, too. Like, he flashes super, super hard. But by Me Against the World, no, he's pretty fucking great. And there are no articles. There are literally no reviews talking about his lyrics.
You know, and even in this
Mike, I got one for you.
Go ahead.
But I got one for you. And here's what I mean about, you got to get back to the root of stuff. Here we go again. Do you remember Blaze?
Yeah.
They did an all-time 100 MC list. Do you remember the MC list?
I don't remember that.
I do. I remember it was 1999, early 99, maybe still 98. They had Rakim at number 1. If I'm not mistaken, KRS-One is number 2. Biggie was number 3. Kane was number 4. LL's 5. I want to say Slick Rick is 6. They have Tupac at number 7. You know what they said about Tupac and Blaze?
What's that?
Although not the lyricist of his peers and his contemporaries, his emotional, like, they spoke to how emotionally he made you feel more. And that's the only time I heard in that time where
lyricism. Because you know what? All right. And I don't want to interrupt you, but what they said, even on this this Academic and T-Pain exchange, they were like, I kind of look, well, I think Academic said this. He said, I look at Pac as a poet. And T-Pain was like, yeah, he was definitely a poet, one of the top poets of his day. And I'm like, well, how can you be a poet and not a lyricist? I'm confused. And, you know, and I don't even like when they try to say that about Pac being a quote-unquote poet. Yeah, he was a poet when he was writing poetry. How do you want it? It's not a fucking poet.
This is what I mean.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
this is what I mean about the New York media. You have to understand, when this Blaze compilation is coming out, first of all, hold on. They might have put I'll have to remember it again. I remember Pac was 7, Jay was 9, Nas was 15. Somewhere filling out that top 10, I believe, was Ice Cube and Cool G Rap. But Tupac was the only guy who they mentioned that didn't belong lyrically with those guys. Like, they talked about Rakim. Think about it. 1 was Rakim. 2 was KRS. 3 was Big. 4 was Kane. 5 was LL. Think 6 might have been Pac. 7 might have been Slick Rick. I think 8 is Ice Cube. 9 is Jay. And I think like they had Chuck D at 12 and Nas at 15, which is fucked up, by the way, because this is 1999.
Right.
But Pac was the only guy that they framed like that. And Blaze is a publication that was put out by who?
Who put out Blaze?
Vibe.
Vibe? Oh, okay.
It's either Vibe or Double XL. One of the people that are misappropriating the culture.
Yeah. Let me get to some of these super chats real quick.
They just brought up him not being a lyricist, Mike, and that's where it started too.
We need
and
to
that's that
explore
New York shit again.
It is. Born King says that dumb ish started with Whack 100. Shaking my head. I think he's talking about speaking ill of people who are no longer here. Let me see. I know we got some more super chats. We missed out a whole bunch in that exchange. Okay. The L Web says TPains is just mad that his time came and went. Ain't nobody playing those songs, simp ringtone songs anymore. We got Darren Harris with the super chat. He says Pac held his own with Big, Kane, Boot Camp, Method Man, and Redman, and gang of West Coast legends. He is a super slept on as a lyricist. Yeah, I mean, Corrupt, all that.
No, I was right. Here we go.
Okay, go ahead.
1 Rakim, 2 KRS. This is how my memory is, Mike. Steel Trap, 1 Rakim, 2 KRS, 3 Notorious B.I.G., 4 Big Daddy Kane, 5 LL Cool J, 6 Cool G Rap, 7 Tupac, 8 Slick Rick, 9 Jay-Z, 10 Ice Cube, 11 Grandmaster Caz, 12 Chuck D, 13 Run, 14 Melly Mel, 15 Nas. Now, first of all,
I'm gonna say this, man.
Go ahead. This is 1998 going into 99. First of all, why are Melly Mel, Run, Grandmaster Caz, and Slick Rick, quite frankly, and Cool G Rap ahead of Nas? All right? They got Tupac at 7, but I'm telling you, I remember this when they did this list. Tupac is the only guy mentioned in the top 15 where they brought up his lack of lyrical ability.
How is Big 3 and Pac 7? You know, and I'm just going to say this, and I love both of them, and I think that, you know, at the time, I love Big's records more, right? You know, but as time went on and I grew up and understood everything that Pac was talking about and where he came from with it, and you look at his illustrious career, you look at the output, the amount of material he had, the work ethic he had, how at that point can you actually put Big at 3 and Pac at 7? It's a little East Coast bias, man. I mean, it is what it is. And I think most of our publications in that era were coming from the same place geographically. And you could see the bias. It was...
Think about this. This is February of 1999. I want people to think about this. And don't tell me that this isn't biased. Jay is number 9 on this list. Look at the other guys on this list. He's 3 albums in. He's got Reasonable Doubt Volume 1 and Volume 2 in February of 99. In February of 99, this guy's made 3 albums, and he is literally being put between Slick Rick and Ice Cube. But Nas is at 15.
So Ice Cube is behind Jay in 99?
Number 10 on the list is Ice Cube.
We're talking about Killer Will, not Dead Presidents, Death Certificate. We're talking about Lethal Injection. We're talking about America's Most. We're talking about
Peace has already come out. Mike, War and Peace is coming out. This is February of 99. Matter of fact, Mike, you want to know what this is? This is February 1999. You want to know what's floating around? You know it's got the streets on locks in February 1999?
Hello?
I Am Bootleg.
Oh, you talking about that. I'm talking about Cube. I'm stuck on the Cube thing. Again, for me, the Cube and Pac thing really shows that East Coast bias. And listen, I grew up as a East Coast hip-hop fan like crazy. But at the end of the day, we have to acknowledge that even in the source, they weren't giving anything 5 mics that wasn't coming from New York. And the only reason why America's Most got 5 is because he made it in New York with the Bomb Squad.
Correct. So
you know what I'm saying? Like, Death Certificate didn't get that.
So think about this. In 1999, they think Ice Cube is a slot behind Jay-Z after America's Most,
Are you serious?
Kill at Will, Death Certificate, Straight Outta Compton. Classic sitting on his catalog, and they got Jay a slot ahead of him. Think about this.
That's not justifiable. There's no way you could justify that.
Think about this. Nas has made Illmatic. It was written in I Am in 1999. He's at 15. They still have him behind Melly Mel. You think they're not being funny? They got Nas behind Melly Mel and Run in 99. Grandmaster Caz is number 11 ahead of Chuck D. The only West Coast artists that even crack the top 15 are Ice Cube and Pac, 7 and 10. They got Too Short at 16, and then you don't see another West Coast rapper until... because the DOC is from Texas. You don't see a West Coast rapper on this list until Snoop at 37.
Well, what about the South? And Snoop is 37 in 1999?
In 1999, Snoop is 37. The South, you better stop that.
Yeah, he ain't probably getting nobody.
Scarface is 22. I'll wait for it. CeeLo is 39.
Wow. CeeLo got high praise. I don't feel bad about my CeeLo pick now, right?
You shouldn't. He was always lyrically the most inclined in the group. He just doesn't execute like Andre.
Blue Collar Hustler with the super chat says, Coop is a beautiful mind of rap. Amazing recall.
Yeah. No, I remember this because when I was like, how you got Kool G Rap at 6 and Nas at 15? You might have that backwards.
Well, this is the thing, and somebody in the chat says that Tupac's not a West Coast artist, but he clearly was.
Oh, Dre is 33. Like... Dre from Outkast is 33. So they got CeeLo at 39, but they got Dre at 33. So those are the only two Southern intros.
Very East Coast heavy, yes.
Super. Dre and CeeLo are they literally took the two best lyricists that ever came out of this region, and they're like, yeah, put them somewhere in the 30s.
Bun B on there? No.
Like I said, they took the two best lyricists that ever came out of this region and threw them in the 30s.
Yeah. What I was going to say, though, somebody said something about Tupac being an East Coast rapper. He clearly wasn't. We see that the West Coast bias is what it is. I mean, not the West Coast bias, the East Coast bias is what it is.
We got a 50 greatest MCs list, and it got 3 Southern artists and 4 West Coast artists.
Well, this is what I'm going to say. And I think this whole narrative that Pac's not a lyricist, and this and that, it comes from East Coast publications.
Comes from the hate.
It does. Because really, man, let's keep it real, man. You got to be a lyricist to make a record like Dear Mama, to make it connect in the way that it does.
I was taking So Many Tears.
You got to be a lyricist to make So Many Tears. Brenda's Got a Baby. Trap.
These are bars.
White Man's World. Son. White man's world. So what are we talking about? So how can you be a poet and not a lyricist? Have you ever heard anybody say that a great poet is not a lyricist? That don't even make sense.
Poets are usually more lyrically inclined. Exactly. Like period. A poet is usually more lyrically inclined to what it actually means to write a lyric.
Listen, that narrative has to stop, man. And again, So this
is what I'm saying. So this New York bias, and I hate to say it, and this goes back to some of your conspiracy theory. Why does it seem like Tupac and Nas, guys who, drop knowledge and appear to be anti-establishment, why do they appear to be the ones that are suffering these types of critiques from New York hip-hop media?
You're right.
Like, Tupac has no business being number 7 in 1999. Like, think about this. This is no disrespect to Kool G Rap. Anybody that's really been watching the show knows how I feel about Kool G Rap. I actually pull up on this podcast frequently and remind people Illmatic is the greatest rap album of all time because Nas is not only adopting Rakim style, but who else is? Kool G Raps. That's how important Kool G Rap is. New York State of Mind is not a Rakim record. That's a Kool G Rap record. That's the type of record Kool G Rap would make. Okay? Right. So he's that guy. He's not a slot ahead of Pac in no 1999. He don't have no Me Against the World or no goddamn All Eyes on Me. That's just respectfully speaking. Respectfully speaking, he doesn't. Mike, LL Cool J, respectfully speaking, is not a better lyricist than Tupac a better song maker. And if anybody is the hit maker that LL Cool J is, guess who it is?
Right.
It's Tupac. So he's bare minimum. And if you, Big Daddy Kane does not have a Me Against the World or an All Eyes on Me or a Machiavelli. And so bare minimum in 1999, Pac is number 4 after Rakim, KRS-One. And really, if you want to tell the truth about it, because Big had only been gone for 2 years, Pac should probably be number 3 on this list in 1999 after Rakim and KRS-One.
Well, see, this is my thing. This is my thing.
In 1999 after Rakim and KRS, then Pac. So
well, this is my thing. Because
that careful slight too. It's like we're not gonna put him where he belong at 3. We're gonna stick him at 7 and play the game.
Of course. And the thing is, I could see showing respect to the legends in '99, right? But they didn't do that when it came to Biggie. They slid Biggie right there at 3 with 2 albums. With 2 albums.
And they slid Jay at 9 with 3.
Yeah, and it's like based on the output at that point. Now I get it if y'all wanted to put, you know what I'm saying, Rakim, Kane, you know what I'm saying, Cool G Rap, because this is 1999, KRS, LL, because of the work, the amount of work, the impact, and all that. But to put Biggie at 3, it's like, nah, you can't justify that. You're gonna have to tell me how you got 3 and 7 based on the work that was put in by this one guy and the lack thereof of the other at the time.
Let's talk about number 1 and number 2 on their list. Well, Rakim put out an album in 1997. KRS put out an album in 1998. These niggas is still outside.
I'm cool with Rakim and KRS being 1 and 2 in 1999. I think that's totally justified.
Listen. In 1999, all jokes aside, they are 1 and 2 in 1999 still. Straight up. It's 1999.
And I wouldn't even be mad if based on the output that KRS put out in the 80s and 90s that he would be number 1. I wouldn't be mad at that. And I'm a Rakim guy.
Mike, can I tell you something about how the KRS-One thing reads? It says in many ways KRS-One is still number 1.
Okay.
That's what it says by his number 2 slot. So the number 1 and number 2 slot is debatable. But it's clearly those 2 guys. But then they lose their credibility because they put Big above Kane, LL, G-Rap, Pop, Nas, Q. You get what I'm saying? It's like, well, hold on. How did that happen? See, this is what I mean about part of how Biggie became the greatest rapper of all time, too. The media kind of put him there.
They did. And I love Biggie. You and I sing Biggie.
You go, hold on. Lyrically speaking, if you're ahead in 1999, Rakim, KRS-One, it's like Biggie, hold on. You went Rakim, KRS, Biggie?
Right.
1999, it's like, well, no, Rakim, KRS-One, Kane, Nas. You know what I'm saying?
And you know, you and I sing Biggie's praises all the time. And you know what? And I'll be 100% with this. If Biggie lived based on the trajectory and where he was going and how he continuously improved, there's no doubt in my mind that he probably would have been the greatest MC ever, right?
No, he's going to be number 1.
Huh?
He was going to be number 1. You see, I hung the picture up.
And I only say that because I do feel like Pac would have went on and did more acting. I think he would have went the Ice Cube route. That's just my personal opinion. But with that being said, based on what we have there, there's no justification for that number 3 spot in 1999. That's clear bias.
You want to know why he's a lyricist? Because of all the MCs who are really top 5 dead or alive, it's really Pac. His songs are going to live the longest. He's the one that's top 5
and what makes songs, Coop? Lyrics. Because somebody was in the chat talking about that songwriting. Well, what the fuck do you got to write down? Lyrics, right?
You have to
like, who else do we do this with?
See what I'm talking about? The process of writing a song is putting lyrics down on paper. When you make a rhyme, you take lyrics and you put them in a rhythmic fashion. That's what a rhyme is. It's taking lyrics and putting them in rhythmic fashion.
And you know what's so funny? A lot of the people that we call lyricists, we get so caught up in their flow and they ain't really saying nothing on the page. This man actually has words that people are quoting, actual lyrics, but he's not a lyricist, right? Show me somebody else that gets pegged with being a great songwriter, but it's not a lyricist.
It's very problematic.
Jay Short with the super chat says, I think there's an odd correlation between Tupac's slander and the campaign to elevate Eminem as the GOAT. They can't win sales, so they go after lyrics. You know what? I think that's a very interesting observation. I'm going to get to that real quick. Shady Supreme. This might be a Eminem fan. I don't know. Shady Supreme. He said, the preacher want to bury me. Why? Because I know he a liar. Have you ever seen a crackhead with the eternal fire? Pac's third verse on blasphemy is insane lyricism. Yeah. His verse on White Man's World. Yep, somebody just said that. What was I going to say? Yes, I think that was a very interesting, astute observation, Jay Short, because I think we were just on this podcast a couple of episodes ago, and we said that Eminem wouldn't stand a chance against Tupac in a rap battle. Some people disagreed, most people agreed. But it's funny now that this lyricism or lack thereof when it comes to Tupac has become a conversation. Because we see who they try to elevate when it comes to being a lyricist.
This is what I mean. Part of the problem with Pac in this sphere, and I'm not joking when I say this, is our education level. Pac is a classically trained writer. He does classically trained writing things that the average rap listener, because of the socioeconomics and educational background, they don't pick up some of the brilliant things Pac does as a lyricist. I'm going to go back to what I always go back to just as a simple example of his brilliant songwriting and what it means to be a lyricist in the real literary devices and writer sense of it. Picture perfect. I paint a perfect picture. Bomber hoochies with precision. My intentions with the S and double OP dog, my fucking homie. Use a cold ass nigga on them all. Sure enough. How's he start off that verse? Picture perfect. I paint a perfect picture. Bombing hoochies with precisions. My intentions to get witter. Are you listening to what the fuck he is saying? That's not lyrics to you. That's not literary devices to you. He did more in 4 bars than most niggas did in 96, and it was the best rap year ever.
Darren Harris with the super chat.
What the fuck are we talking about?
Darren Harris with the super chat says, that article also had top 10 producer lists with Dre and Primo at 1 and 2. Prodigy was mentioned one as their biggest regret not making the top 50. Wow, they didn't have him in the whole top 50?
Very disrespectful.
Unknown Name said, I've always said that Biggie being heralded as much as he has is a direct shot at Pac and New York radio and media. Poet is the definition of a lyricist. Correct. Like, I've never heard anybody be heralded as such a great poet, but he's not a lyricist.
Listen, this isn't lyrical. Now, we was both two niggas of the same kind, quick to holler at a hoochie, but the same line. You was just a little smaller, but still roll. Got stressed the YA and hit the hood swole. Remember when you had a Jerry curl, didn't quite learn. Right. Like, no, that's lyrical. He's taking you to a place and setting a scene the way a great writer and lyricist does.
I guess people want Pac to be out there.
Call to the tips. Oh, you a Muslim now? No more dope games. Heard you might be coming home. Just got bail. Want to go to the mosque or want to chase tail. Seems I lost my little homie. He's a changed man. Hit the pen and now no more sinning is the game plan. When I talk about money, all you see is the struggle. When I'm telling you, when I tell you I'm living large, you tell me it's trouble. Congratulations on the wedding. I hope your wife knows she got a player for life, and that's no bullshitting. I know we grew apart. You probably don't remember. I used to fiend for your sister, but never went up in her. Yo, what the fuck are niggas talking about?
You know, anybody who
what do niggas be talking about? Like, when I say shit like that, what are you talking about?
You know, and my thing with T-Pain, man, like I said, it's one thing that you out here speaking on the dead in ill fashion. But as a grown 37, soon to be 38-year-old black man, you listen to this man's music and you don't connect, there's something wrong with you.
There's something wrong with you if you don't connect to this shit. That's what I'm saying.
If you don't connect to the shit that you hear, from the hood. Something wrong with you, bro.
Yeah, right. If you don't feel that shit, it's like I can't. You want to know what? I can't fuck with you.
You know what? I used to feel sorry. I used to feel sorry for the fact that, you know, people stole a lot of T-Pain's swag and his approach to recording and all of that and don't work with him now. I kind of understand why now.
Like Pac be saying, like Pac says real shit even when he's talking shit. Like on No More Pain, where he's like, Alizé and Cristal, we show you heard of all the freaky shit they say about me. Like he says real live shit, like you want like a real poet, which is a lyricist, to say. Because you know, like part of the thing of a poet is to evoke the emotions of a community.
It's about connecting. There's so many rappers, so many rapidy rap rappers, of people who can put all kind of words together that don't connect. So how do we sit here and minimize the lyricist that does connect?
Like, hold on, this doesn't, like when he's on So Many Tears, lately I've been really wanting babies so I can see a part of me that wasn't always shady. Don't trust my lady because she's a product of this poison. I'm hearing noises, think she's fucking all my boys, can't take no more. I'm falling to the floor, begging for the Lord to let me in the heaven's door. That's not lyrical to you?
I don't understand.
What the fuck are you talking about? Then I'm gonna say it again. You get what I'm saying? I can go down his whole catalog of where he's saying striking, supreme, lyrical shit.
Not to mention, he was only 24, 25 when he left this earth. When he died. So yeah, he was 25, but I mean, a bulk of his work was when he was 24 and younger. Let's just be real.
20 to 24 is when he did most of
you know what I mean? So those type of perspectives in that age range, and y'all want to sit here and talk about this man ain't a lyricist?
Hold on. I'm going to go to your bars, Mike. I remember Marvin Gaye used to sing to me. He had me feeling like black was the thing to be. And suddenly the ghetto didn't seem so tough. And though we had it rough, we always had enough. Oh, you don't feel that? That don't do something to you?
Right. 007 with the super chat says, Eminem is dropping a new album, but is anyone sitting on the edge of their seats in anticipation? No. Why? His musical output, that's what kept Pac and Big alive. That's what kept Nas the GOAT. All about output. And you know, and again, and I got love for Big Boy, man. Big Boy out there in LA, right? But I think he had Logic on the show. And they were spewing that notion that the reason why people are downing Eminem now is because he lived. If he would have had an unfortunate demise, they feel that his legacy would have been elevated. I think when people say stuff like that, that is a direct shot at Pac and Big and where their place is in this hip-hop echelon. But their music speaks to that. You know, if M wasn't no longer here, right? You know, and I don't wish that on anybody. The music doesn't carry that notion. So let's not say those type of things. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that discredits the work that Pac and Big actually did put down, making it seem like the reason why they're elevated is because they're no longer here. No, it's because of the music they made.
Mike,
and that was part of what TPains said,
Mike,
too.
No. Listen, this is what I'm saying. Like, this is why Pac is a lyricist. Like, spitting his shit will get you emotional. I need to blow my fucking nose right now. I'm tearing up from spitting his shit. M don't have no shit like that, nigga.
No.
What is wrong with niggas? I need to blow my nose right now because just listening and recalling all the phenomenal shit this man said.
It's disrespectful, man.
Hold on. Between the ages of 20 to 25, he wasn't even a mature black man yet.
No.
He hadn't even hit his stride yet as a black man. Like, Mike, you know this. Like, you know this, Mike. You hit your stride between 35 to 40 just like me. This nigga died at 25 and he's talking this way. Do you know what he would be at our age?
I can't imagine. And for people to disrespect that,
like, this shit, like, no, nigga.
For people to disrespect that is unforgivable. So, you know, again, I don't even see how people can fix their mouths to say these type of things.
Nigga, T-Pain canceled. I'll never listen to any one of his songs.
No, I'm cool. I'm cool on him. And that's for real. Cool on him. And you know what? And I like his music.
The only song that he made that I kept in my database was "Buy You a Drink," and I'm deleting that shit.
I'm cool. Yeah, I'm cool.
Yeah, I'm good.
As the great Snoop Dogg would say.
Do this shit. Not you. This ain't even like we would be having a different conversation if like this was like, I don't know, Nas, LL, J, Rakim saying this. No, nigga, this is T-Pain.
But they would never say that because they respect the legacy and the work that was put in. Like, dude, where you come off saying stuff like this, man? And you know what? We as a community, and I'm talking about the hip hop community at large, we gotta stop allowing people to go out there and clout chase on some shit like this. You say stuff like that, you done. That's it.
No, see, this is what happens. See, like social media and like this digital age, like protected niggas from getting their ass whooped. Like niggas need to feel like they still can get their ass stomped out for what they say. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I be thinking, I told you, Mike, like about 3 to 5 people a month pull up on me about according to hip hop, but I know how I be talking and acting sometimes. So like, I be like, what? Huh? Like, what? Like, no, like niggas like be doing this because it's like they don't get their ass whooped no more. It's like, no, ass whoopings are like life affirming things where you think a nigga might roll up on you and do something to you based on how you behave. But when you get to do all this little shit on the camera and hide and duck people, it makes people tougher than what they are.
Well, I think that when you come from a perspective like that, it says a lot about you. You know what I mean? Like, so anything that, I mean, the fact that T-Pain even said what he had to say about Pac and his work, I don't want to have anything, like, we have nothing to converse about. Jay Short with Super Chat says, I ain't a killer, but don't push me, bro. Vengeance is the sweetest joy next to getting pussy. You don't have to be hood to feel that every man felt those bars. Yeah, I mean, he was able to relate to everybody on every level.
Isn't that some of the realest shit ever, though? I ain't a killer, but don't push me.
He told you, straight up. Man, and again, and what I didn't like about...
the sweetest joy next to getting pussy. Like, that's real shit. Like,
what I didn't like about their exchange either, they minimized Tupac into Hit 'Em Up. And I think that's very dangerous in itself.
I told you I don't like that song. I don't like the whole Death Row Tupac thing, living longer than Tupac thing. Yeah. Tupac was a thinker and a philosopher and a poet and somebody who wasn't an agent of change per se as much as he was the voice for somebody that was going to be the agent of change. And so when you typecast him as that hit 'em up, death row, chain swinging guy, you take a lot of the value away.
Yeah.
And we're not about to allow that shit to happen.
Exactly. And this opens the door for them to have conversations like what they just had.
Tupac was a whole legend and a whole thing and a whole phenomenon unto himself before he ever recorded one fucking song for Death Row.
And yeah, man, all this off-code behavior, stop speaking on the dead legends.
No, niggas need to be like, this is what I'm saying. This is like, if there was dudes out, like, this is what I mean, like, the streets is different now. Like, this nigga out here talking like this, like, the streets didn't used to run like this. Niggas like this couldn't talk like this because there was dudes that was gonna go slap the shit out of you.
I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's just like, yo, somebody around you would slap the shit out of you for this. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know what stories he's heard. And I don't know who he's spoken to, but stories that I've heard, real ones.
Right. I mean, you know, my brothers, and Pac wasn't always the best dude. My brothers did security for Pac one time. Pac's smaller than me, Mike. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, my brothers did security for Pac one time. It's like they smoked the blunt with him too, but he wasn't the nicest dude in the world, so he could be very problematic at times, I've been told, including by my brothers who met him firsthand. But he was a smart dude and a loving dude too. It's like he hopped my brothers in the limo and let them smoke with him too, even though he was arrogant as fuck, you know?
I think that there's a part of that, you know, just being young and being super famous. But I think when you're heralded to that level and you got your guard up, you know, everybody that's around you could possibly want something from you. You know, I think it was somebody who was, I was reading some comment, they was talking about Michael Jordan. And long story short, the guy was like, well, you know, I guess he was cool with his neighbor or something. Anyway, he said he's not the nicest guy and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, with somebody like that, anywhere they go, anywhere they walk, they're getting hounded by people. How can you expect somebody to be nice to everybody? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just unrealistic. We got the waterworks going.
Nah, it's Pac, man. I love Pac.
I love him too, man. And I take it personally. You know what? I take it personally when people take shots at folks like that who did so much for the culture, who went out here and died, gave their lives.
Yeah, I take that Pac shit.
That shit ain't cool.
No, it's not cool.
Yeah. Let's move on to this top 50 list, man. We're like 2 hours and 15 minutes in. We still got like 420 something people in the room. Thumbs up in the chat. So,
yeah,
for the people that are just getting there, just getting. Oh,
speaking of which, you know who else loves Pac?
What's that?
Griselda. Oh, they shout Pac out all the time.
Pac is a real one. We got a super chat here from Nabby. Says, if I die tonight, against all odds, that's wherever you are with Daddy Kane.
The hearts of men. Yes, the hearts of men.
Can't see me. I love you, can't see me. Ambitions of a rider. Hearts of men. And the verse that he had on Deadly Combination.
Hold on. What's what they said, if I die tonight on off Me Against the World? Yeah. Mike, you can't. He the realest nigga ever, Mike. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, man, what are we doing? And like I said,
he the realest ever put pen to paper and actually live it out. What are we doing?
Like I said, man, if you can't feel that shit, I don't really know what to say to you.
I can't fuck with you.
I mean, and like I said, I get it for people who might not be of a certain culture or whatever. But T-Pain, man, you're a 38-year-old black man, and you sitting here talking that type of stuff about Pac? Man, you crazy, bro.
I can't fuck with you no more.
Clayton is asleep. Says, show me T-Pain's Death Around the Corner.
Mike, this ain't even counting like the soundtrack shit, like My Block, Pour Out a Little Liquor, Pain.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are we doing? Like T-Pain?
This is the problem, and this is why these things need to be.
Free bands. Like this shit too free for me. Niggas need to get smacked.
This is why these things need to be addressed. Because if you let people go out here and talk like this for a generation who might not know as much about this man's legacy, it continuously gets erased. It gets erased. The narrative gets changed, and then you get minimized to hit them up. And like you said, the death row Pac, other than looking at the whole scope of it. And so that's why I don't like when people go out here and do these short-sighted little takes or whatever, and damn, they're disrespectful, because like you said, he wouldn't say those things if Pac was here living. And I'm not saying that because on some big and bad shit, you wouldn't say those things about Ice Cube right now.
No.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you wouldn't say those things.
Like nigga, Pac would be in New York running up on bootleggers, bootlegging his shit in the streets.
It's video footage of that.
There's footage of that where he is checking niggas and literally taking his shit from niggas. This is my shit, nigga. Like, do something and we'll bust that ass right now.
Yep.
Right now. This is while he's living out in California and coming back to New York. Like, this nigga is as real as it gets by our definition of what real is on all accounts, as in life, in music, in what he writes, in what he speaks about in this community. Who the fuck is T-Pain, Mike? Like, really, in relationship to Tupac, and here's what I mean about how, like, this, like, digital shit has changed everything. People on T-Pain's level used to not feel comfortable speaking about people on Tupac's level.
Right.
And I'm telling you, the only thing that changes that is ass whoopings. Like, ain't no talking about to change that. No, niggas need their ass whooped. Like, whoop a nigga ass behind that shit and watch if he talk that shit again, because that's how the shit you really used to roll.
DeCarlo, nobody is worshiping anybody. We're just respecting the legacy and the work that's been put in. And this is a part of keeping history correct. Because if you just let people run wild with narratives and give falsehoods, then shit gets out of whack. Like I said, I think that narrative that Tupac's not a lyricist is very convoluted to me. And I think it's disrespectful to the work that this man did put down when it comes to putting pen to paper. And not to mention his execution. And because it doesn't make sense to call somebody a poet and say that they're not a lyricist. How many people can you say that about? That they're a poet, a great poet, but not a lyricist? Come on.
Hold on. There is no separation. I want you to understand this. You can't call Nas a poet and not call Tupac a poet. You do not get to separate those things because you like the traditional East Coast format that one of those guys puts it in.
Exactly. I couldn't have put it better myself.
It is literally, they literally have a comparable song where, you get what I'm saying? No. You do not get to separate that shit up in here. Now, if you prefer the traditional type of East Coast lyricism that Nas provides, that's fine. But you're not about to sit up there and say Tupac's not a lyricist.
Right.
Like,
that's like me saying that Scarface is not a lyricist. How could I say that? When he made Never Seen a Man Cry, like, I can't say that. He wrote one of the best verses ever on shit. I'm tripping. He wrote one of the best verses ever on Mind Playing Tricks on Me. That third verse. That's lyricism, man.
No, all of those verses.
All of those
I was
verses.
actually thinking pick a verse.
Yeah, pick a verse. But that third verse is one of the greatest verses of all time.
You think so? Well, which one is that?
Day by day, it's more impossible to cope.
I feel like
I'm the one that's being, man.
No, you see, here's the thing.
Keep a steady hand because I'm nervous. Every Sunday morning, I'm in service, praying for forgiveness, trying to find the exit out the business. It's so many different emotions, man. Like, it's crazy.
He wrote Bushwick's verse.
Yeah, and the Bushwick's verse is a standout verse for obvious reasons. But that third verse, that's the one. That's one of the greatest verses ever.
It's like, Mike, I think it's the first one.
It's a great verse too.
That's what I mean.
But
it's
I'm
like,
just
where
saying,
you need to go.
That third verse, the different emotions that he goes through, the schizophrenia that he goes through in that verse, that's brilliant. That's lyricism. But people will sit there and tell you because it's not bomatomically, Socrates' philosophies and hypotheses. And no disrespect to Deck, I love Deck. But because it's not that kind of lyricism, people will tell you that's not a lyricist.
So I think that's why, if I'm not mistaken, though, and this is where we tried to provide some balance, I believe that the verse from I Ain't Mad At You and My Mind Playing Tricks on Me both fell in our top 10 all-time greatest verses list, but so did Triumph and so did Verbal Intercourse.
Because they're all great verses.
Both. There's space for both. Like Verbal Intercourse and Triumph, or what I would like to call your traditional East Coast, like Harvard law book, put it in the canon type of, but in the same top 10, we had Tupac's first verse of I Ain't Mad At You, Scarface's third verse for Mind Playing Tricks on You, because those verses belong right next to Deck's verse on Triumph and Nas's verse on Verbal Intercourse. They do.
In my personal opinion, and I wouldn't argue somebody.
And if you don't understand that shit, I can't fuck with you.
In my personal opinion, and I wouldn't, feel away if somebody felt the other way, I think that third verse on Mind Playing Tricks on Me is better than Deck's verse on Triumph. To me.
I think we might have had them right next to each other. Yeah. I think Deck's verse might have been ahead by one slot. But if you felt that way, no, I can't deny you that. Because
I feel like a Deck verse like that, as special as it is, we can get one of them again. I don't think you get that many.
No, you remember, like, this is what I mean. Like, you don't think Pac's a lyricist? You remember Pac on If I Wonder If Heaven Got a Ghetto?
I love that.
And now Bush Can't Stop the Hit. I predicted the shit into Pacalypse. Come on, man. He's talking about George H. Bush, not W.
007 with the super chat says, I have declared war on the rich who prosper over the poverty, and politicians who lie to us with the smiling faces, and all the mindless, heartless robots who protect them and their property. Asada Shakur. Shout out to Asada Shakur. Living her life out there in Cuba.
We're not
going there. Jay Short with the super chat says, funny, consider T-Pain isn't even a classical singer. Isn't even a classic singer. You want to go to this list?
Yeah, let's go to the list, because it's like I'm going to do the Tupac thing to the end of the show, if you don't.